हाँ, we were discussing salary economics that is directly connected to the wages, both in the non-formal economy and formal economy. तो उससे प्राइस ऑफ वोलेटिलिटी दिखाई पता चलता है, रिटेल इन्फ्लेशन दिखता है उसमें। तो एक इंपॉर्टेंट कॉन्सेप्ट है विद रिस्पेक्ट टू इकोनॉमिक सर्वे। तो जाएगा कमिंग टू नेक्स्ट आर्टिकल, वी डिस्कस इन डिटेल इन द न्यूज़पेपर कि जीआई टैग, व्हाई जीआई टैग इज इंपॉर्टेंट एंड सेवरल एरियाज जीआई टैग का नाम दिया हुआ है दैट इज कैन बी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर द पीटी एग्जाम। तो मेंस के लिए दो इंपॉर्टेंट सिर्फ था कि मोस्ट ऑफ द
If
जीआई
you
टैग।
can spell out his names, we'll be adding in the doc.
व्हाट?
You can spell out the names of the GI tags, and we can add in
हाँ,
the
yes,
doc.
yes, आई एम स्पीकिंग in mains perspective. We discussed only two in detail कि first of all GI tag is mostly given to the agriculture and handicraft, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के लिए बहुत कम, 15% से कम है, उसको बढ़ाना चाहिए। सेकंड, disparity, regional disparity is there in GI tag, states like Andhra, Kerala, Tamil Nadu,
I would
etc.
I would like to add that the name is geographical indicator. So geographical indicator is always linked with the geography. So even if it is has to do with the manufacturing, then there has to be something very unique and very much special with respect to geography, which cannot be replicated anywhere else. So manufacturing में औषध कैसे बढ़ाएंगे? Can you please elaborate?
सर, दो टाइप से जीआई टैग दिया जाता है। फर्स्ट, ऑलरेडी इट इज वेरी फेमस, एंड सेकंड, many people don't know about that particular handicraft or manufactured product in that region, so we can promote also that. So first of all, for promoting that kind of manufacturing, we can include uh, new methods from the other countries also. बग ड्रग पार्क को प्रमोट कर सकते हैं, वहां से फिर धीरे धीरे वो
किसको?
स्पेसिफिक एरिया को, ड्रग पार्क जो है
Okay.
उसको प्रमोट करके हो सकता है ना लॉन्ग टर्म में अच्छा बन जाए, तो जीआई टैग मिल सकता है।
So drug park.
मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है ना सर,
Okay.
और
But
जो
it has
कहीं
to
से
be
आए गई।
unique.
हाँ,
It has to do with the geography.
हो सकता है सर, क्योंकि ये तो हैंडीक्राफ्ट एग्रीकल्चर डिफरेंट हो जाता है। मैन्युफैक्चरिंग तो आप कहीं ना कहीं से लाओगे ना आप वहां पर। जो मुरादाबाद ब्रास फैक्ट्री है, वो तो कहीं ना कहीं से
Mm-hmm.
ब्रास आया ही है, आज से 500 साल पहले आया, 400 साल पहले आया, तो कहीं ना कहीं से आया, वहां से फिर स्पेशलाइजेशन हो गया। तो हो सकता है ना अभी आप मैन्युफैक्चरिंग बेस खोलोगे सेमी कंडक्टर कहीं कर भी, हो सकता है 30 साल बाद उसको जीआई टैग मिल जाए कि, या फिर इंडस्ट्रियल एक्ट के
Okay.
अंदर माल
Please
मिल जाए।
continue. Please
हम्म।
continue. Please continue.
फिर कमिंग टू द इम्पोर्टेंट जीआई टैग गुड्स, कपड़ा गंवड़ा सॉल, कपड़ा गंडवा, गंडा सॉल, इट इज प्रोड्यूस्ड बाय द डोंगरिया कोन ट्राइब, पीवीटीजी, ओडिशा रायगढ़, कालाहंडी डिस्ट्रिक्ट।
Very important. Very
वेरी
important
इंपॉर्टेंट।
and very specific example. Yes. We must start highlighting what is very important and bringing the necessary intervention in the narratives. Thank you.
यस। देन सेकंड इज कोरापुट काला जीरा राइस, काला जीरा, इट इज बीइंग प्रिजर्व ओवर द 1000 years बाय द ट्राइबल फार्मर्स ऑफ कोरापुट। तो काला जीरा राइस से रिलेटेड दो राइस है, कतरनी राइस भागलपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट, एंड सेकंड इज बासमती राइस। तो इस सबको जीआई, इसको भी जीआई टैग मिला। देन लंजीरे सौरभ पेंटिंग, मधुबनी पेंटिंग बिहार में उनको मिलता है, पट्टचित्रा को भी जीआई टैग मिला है। तो ये लंजिया सौरा पेंटिंग, इट इज द आर्ट बिलोंग्स टू द लंजिया सौरा ट्राइब, पीबीटीजी, इन रायगढ़ डिस्ट्रिक्ट, कंप्राइज ऑफ व्हाइट फिगर क्रिम्सन बैकग्राउंड। सिमलीपल काई चटनी, मयूरभंज डिस्ट्रिक्ट, एंड से बनता है, इंपॉर्टेंट, पूछा भी था एक बार। सिमलीपल, सिमलीपल कहाँ पे है? उड़ीसा। सिमलीपल बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व नहीं है, सिमलीपल नेशनल पार्क है,
Tiger reserve,
उड़ीसा
tiger
टाइगर
reserve.
रिजर्व, सॉरी, सिमलीपल टाइगर रिजर्व, मयूरभंज डिस्ट्रिक्ट इन, इट इज इन एशिया सेकेंड लार्जेस्ट बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व प्रवेश, सेकेंड लार्जेस्ट बायोस्फीयर रिजर्व। एंड से चटनी में, चटनी इज हाईली न्यूट्रिशियस फूड सोर्स रिच इन प्रोटीन विटामिन एंड मिनरल्स, इम्यूनिटी बढ़ाने के लिए। उड़ीसा खजौरी गुड़ा, गुड़, गुड़ है, खजूर गुड़, तो खजूरी गुड़ इसमें एक तरह से। उड़ीसा डेट पाम, पटाली गुड़ इसको बोलते हो, वो डार्क ब्राउन कलर। नयागढ़ कंटे मुंडी ब्रिंजल, इट इज ऑल्सो गिवन जीवे टैग, एग्रीकल्चर से रिलेटेड। डेन कनल मग्गी लड्डू, बफेलो मिल्क छेना से बनता है ये।
And apart from that, the Similipal Tiger Reserves comprises of three conservation areas. The very first is Similipal Tiger Reserves. Number two, Hadgad Wildlife Sanctuary. And number third is Kuldiha Wildlife Sanctuary. And it lies in the state of Odisha, Mayurbhanj district. Thank you.
Yes. Coming to next article regarding the L1 mission, आदित्य L1, L2, L3, L4, L5. Why L1 is important? तो पहला है कि L1, L2, L5 associated with the motion of one astronomical body around another, and spacecraft orbit in the Earth is attracted by the gravitational force exerted it by the Earth. It does not fall on the Earth because of the gravity balanced by the centrifugal force and also the motion. तो इसी कारण ये मूवमेंट होता है, ये तो पता चली गया. सेकेंड इज ग्रेविटेशनल पुल ऑफ द सन इज इक्विवेलेंट, तभी जाके L1 इंपॉर्टेंट है. That does not mean that Aditya is stationary at a point in space because it also revolves. L1 is on the line between the sun and earth. As the earth rotates around the sun, L1 too goes around the sun, but it always remains on the line joining the sun and the earth. इसलिए आदित्य L1 जो स्पेस क्राफ्ट है, it is remains same relative to the sun and earth. तो
So we
L1
can
यहाँ
say it is in a geosynchronous position.
नहीं, जियोसिंक्रोनस कैसे हो सकता है? जियोसिंक्रोनस तो अर्थ की स्पेसिफिक लोकेशन से होता है 36,000 किलोमीटर ऊपर. दिस इज टॉकिंग अबाउट द रिलेटिव मोशन बिटवीन द अर्थ एंड सन, उसमें सेम है. रिलेटिव टू द अर्थ सेम नहीं है तो जियोसिंक्रोनस नहीं हो सकता ना.
Sun. Okay.
बोथ रिलेटिव टू द सन एंड अर्थ बोथ के लिए सेम है. जियोसिंक्रोनस इज रिलेटिव सेम रिलेटिव टू द अर्थ ओनली. पोलर में पोलर से होता है कि सन के हिसाब से. तो L1 बीच में, L4, L2, L5, L3. तो L1 is between the perpendicular line joining the sun and earth. Okay. I think I finished, Mansi. You can take a financial expression.
Okay, Ashik. Okay, so here we see mutual funds assets, they topped the record and they hit this level of rupees 50 trillion in the month of December, and this we can see the performance or the trend even through this graph also. So we'll take this up in more detail in the Mint newspaper also, but here it is important. One thing is the systematic investment plan contributions at all-time high. So here we are seeing one structural shift in India's capital market is that we are seeing more number or more participation of the retail investors. So their confidence is helping us in fighting the volatility in the capital outflows, which is associated with the foreign institutional investors and the foreign portfolio investors. So rest elements will take up in detail later on. And then यहाँ पे जो issue है Sony और Z, they yet to break the ice. So it is basically Sony Group planning to call off the merger pact with Z Entertainment because the issue is about the leadership. कि after amalgamation, who is going to actually lead? So issues over that. Then Dial wins rupees 2,300 crores arbitration against the Airports Authority of India. So we've discussed this about AAI, that it is a statutory body. It is functioning at the Ministry of Civil Aviation, and the main function is to look into firstly operating around 125 airports in India, and also about the maintenance and again the construction of the airports also in some regard. So here we seeing that dispute with Dial. Dial is a GMR owned group. Airports Authority of India is a public sector company. So it is a mini Ratna also. So Dial is Delhi International Airport. So they used to, under an agreement, they used to pay certain amount of revenue to the Airports Authority of India. So against that, Dial has won against this dispute. So under this terms of this privatization agreement, which was signed in 2006, so Delhi airport, it used to pay somewhere around 46% their annual revenue. So here they have won this dispute because they say that after COVID-19, their finances and the revenue and the traffic flows that was disrupted. So that is important. This have taken a boycott Maldives gains speed. So we talk about developing cruise tourism. So here specifically, it is about river cruise tourism. And we're seeing the government would be investing somewhere around rupees 45,000 crores in river cruise development. So that would be in proportionate levels with the passenger capacity that is expected. And this would be again important for the inland waterways also. So it would be somewhere around, we can say, in Varanasi region, which is again an important pilgrimage site also. So that is there. Then here we see agriculture exports to hit $100 billion by 2030. So ready to eat food is one potential area where India can expand and grow. Ready to eat food, basically the packaged food items, we can say. Here again, the most beneficial sector would be the food processing industries. So the aim of the government and the private sector is to make this event, which is the Indus Food Show, one of the biggest such events in the world. So the retail chains and for the show to source their requirements from India. So here with different companies also. So role of Trade Promotion Council also becomes important. And also at a time when we are seeing again the exports are facing external challenges because of the reduction in the demand. So that's how we can talk about that, how we can increase our exports. So this can be one of the solutions that we can cite. Now talking about the free trade agreement with Europe and India, so limited gains from the EFTA deal, this Swiss moves to end the import tariffs. So this is the main issue, that if obviously both the sides would have to end their import tariffs. So India feels that if India also will have to end the import tariffs, so it will not be beneficial for the domestic players. So this is the main issue here. And then what are the major, we can say, imports for India from Switzerland? So in this regard, there was again question in prelims also. And this was again regarding the gold exported by Switzerland. So one of the most important thing that we're importing from Switzerland is gold and machinery, pharmaceuticals, coking, steam coal, which is again an important raw material in steel industry. So these are the important area. And Switzerland is also home to the biggest pharma and chemical companies in the world. So including Novartis, Roche, and Bayer and Abbott. So these are the examples of the important companies. And it also has historical accumulations of gold, and it primarily refines imported gold. So such gold cannot meet the rules of origin conditions of minimum value addition of even 5%. So this is also one thing this we took up yesterday also, that India always raises this point of the rules of origin, that you'll have to specify these details on the goods that a particular country is exporting or whatever India is importing. We need to be aware, and this needs to be transparent, that we are importing the goods from actually which country. Then ammonium nitrate makers, they are hit by the surge in the Russia's import. So यहाँ पे भी issue यही है कि जो domestic producers हैं ammonium nitrate, जो manufacturers they have been hit hard because Russia says suddenly the imports they have increased because they are at lower prices. So here the significant price difference between domestic manufactured ammonium nitrate and imported ammonium nitrate is very much high. So that is impacting the domestic players. And government is also investing in the domestic production because again we are focusing upon self-reliance. So Indian ammonium nitrate manufacturers
Ashik,
are important.
Yes, sir.
Ashik,
Yes, sir.
what is the application of ammonium nitrate?
In the urea, sir. Ammonium nitrate in the also in the weapons, grenade, TNT. Several applications are there.
And the formula is?
Trinitro-toluene, TNT.
And the formula is?
Ammonium
Trinitro-toluene,
nitrate.
sir. Ammonium
Okay,
nitrate,
thank you.
NH4,
Continue.
yes,
Formula
NO3,
for ammonium nitrate.
NH4, NO3, NH4 whole 2 NO3.
Yes. Okay. Then thali prices we talked about this again, it is a reflection of again the changes in the real wages of the laborers or the daily wagers. Then secondly, we can say that it also reflects about the food inflation also. So since we are seeing prices of onion, tomato prices, they have declined by 14 and 3%. So the thali prices have also declined. Then coming to the fifth team for pricing disputes begins the work. So here the dispute is about the advanced pricing agreements. So the name is self-explanatory, advanced pricing. If you are entering into an agreement, so you decide the price before that you will be selling or buying at this predetermined price in a future date. So here we see that these advanced pricing agreements, these are the pacts which are signed by two parties, taxpayer and the tax administration, in order to determine the transfer pricing methodology. And here it is for pricing the taxpayers cross-border related party transactions for the future years. So this is important. So that we do not have any dispute in future. So for that, we are seeing adequate steps are being taken right now. An important institutional authorities here is CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxation. Then mustard output set to hit the record of 13 million tons. And if we look at the trend, so you can see that it has consistently increased. So this can be said since 2019-20, mustard production has consistently increased in India. And with the record sowing season, mustard seed production, it is likely to touch an all-time high of 13 million tons, boosting the domestic supplies of edible oils. So since we again here also focusing upon the domestic self-reliance, so that again our import dependence gets reduced. We are having a dedicated oil seeds mission also. And mustard is a rabi crop. So we import like edible oils like palm oil, soya bean, and sunflower oils.
Also, what is the difference between CBDT and the Central Board of Revenue?
So Central Board of Revenue is both for direct and indirect taxation. It is revenue, the revenue that is being collected. Apart from taxation, the dividends which the government get from different, we can say the PSUs. So all the things except along with the tax revenue is looked into by the Central Board of Revenue. And where when we talk about only direct taxation and different board for indirect taxation, so that is it is like clear that it is only for the direct taxation thing and the indirect taxation revenue. So ONGC begins the production in the KG Basin. So the Oil and Natural Gas Corporation have announced the commencement of the first oil from its much delayed deep water Krishna Godavari Basin in the Bay of Bengal. So the operations have been started, and this is the second, we can say, after the Reliance Industries. So more details would be taken up. We have more articles on this today. And then rising transmission volumes to boost the GAIL's profitability. So with the increase in the volumes, their profitability would be, you can say, expected to increase. So GAIL, it is, we can say, a vital Asia for the supply of the LNG, liquefied natural gas. So this long-term LNG deal, it will augment the GAIL's large LNG portfolio, will address India's natural gas demand supply disparity which exists. So with the increase in volumes, we'll be able to make for the supply side shortfalls. And that would be again, in proportion, we'll be able to meet more amount of demand in a shorter time frame. So this would be beneficial. And apart from this, when we talk about the natural gas industry in India, so there is one issue or concern about even the pricing mechanism also. So the committee that talked about again the recommendations about the pricing formula for the natural gas was, as far as I'm able to rightly recall, is the Kirit Parekh committee. So Prime Minister says that welfare benefits should reach all. So this is again the same, the link the sir has shared with us on the group also. So he's talking about it should reach all the people earlier their aspirations, ambitions, their dreams. He says that they should be fulfilled now, and the steps they are being taken up. When he was talking about that Modi ki guarantee ki gaadi, so this was the idea that he was putting up. So he talked about ki rural, Dalit, backward, Adivasi people, they should enjoy the benefits. The beneficiaries should actually get the benefits. And again, he mentioned about the 4 important castes: the farmers, the youth, then the poor people, and women. So these are the 4 important castes that he's emphasizing upon. So talking about the growing importance of artificial intelligence. So again, training in those skills which are important for the operations of AI, seeing the private players are coming forward for the training purpose. So one example is this: a Microsoft trained 1 lakh Indian developers on artificial intelligence. So this would help in acquiring the skills needed to execute the critical projects using the AI technologies. So BSNL is an important player in the telecom industry. As we talk about that, there are sometimes it appears to be that there's a situation of oligopoly. That is, the power is concentrated in the hands of few. So BSNL becomes an important public sector enterprise in the telecom industry, and 5G service launch would be there in 2025. So it aims 20% user share by the end of this year. So it is a state-owned Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited. So it has been losing subscribers continuously, targeting 20% mobile subscribers. It is trying to revive back. And again, it is an important player even in the implementation of the BharatNet project, which is about making available internet services in all the gram panchayats in India. This we have taken up new regulations to reduce the pilot fatigue. So NBFCs capitalize on big used car demand. So fintech aggregators, they're playing a key role. So this is one short example in non-banking financial companies. Loan sanctions in this category have risen 154% the last 2 years. So second-hand car industries के बारे में हम बात कर सकते हैं, the market. So likewise, we also talk about the second-hand market in terms of the textile sector in India is not that developed or not that popular. So even that needs to grow. So here, used car loans, used car के लिए loans and the demand is increasing.
And could you please specify in short, why do we need NBFCs?
NBFCs, we have seen of late, like non-banking financial companies, like we have the banks. Earlier, you do not used to have the share of NBFCs in such a large proportion as we have it today. So it is to cater the financing demands for like a specialized category of areas. For example, we are having specialized NBFCs which are providing finance for the infrastructural development projects. So here it is only for the used car. So that would be again helping in providing more cheaper loans, we can say, because it is dealing in one specialized sector, unlike the banks. So this is the importance. And of late, again, we have talked about even the rise of the fintech companies also. So their regulation is becoming now much more important, because again, they cannot be regulated in the way the banks are being regulated. So something has to be different for them.
Okay.
Indian stocks get first ETF exchange traded fund in the Gulf as UAE deepens the ties. So exchange traded funds, we have talked about the difference between ETFs and the mutual funds. So in ETFs, we say like you can trade the ETFs on daily basis, but you cannot trade mutual funds. In ETFs, the prices is, or we can say the cost is also less compared to the mutual funds. So these are the 2 main important points of difference between the exchange traded funds. And then again, here in ETFs also, we are having different categories. Like it is for the mixed bag also, we are having dedicatedly for the gold also, gold ETFs. So these become important. And again, ETFs or when talk on mutual funds, so that is important for even diversification of the risk. Okay, now we can move to the Mint newspaper. So here we're talking about the structural shift which was visible in the capital markets. So seeing retail investors continuing to chase the fortunes in the small cap stocks. So we are seeing interest increasing in the small cap and the mid cap stocks. So why it is happening more in these and not in the large cap stocks? Because here the chances of making good and higher returns is more. So that's why people are shifting towards them. But at the same time, the risk is also high because these are more volatile with sharp drawn down risk. They can crash also very quickly because the size of the movement, even in price rise or in reduction, the prices is very huge. So you can suddenly make huge amount of profits and you can end up in losses also. So this is one thing that we are seeing, and seeing that this is acting as a counterweight to volatile foreign inflows and outflows. So this is one important change, a structural change which is visible. And the impact of again the on the trade of India after the attack of the Houthi rebels. This was, we can just have a quick look at this, that this was a trade route that we used to follow. It was around 11,670 kilometers, and now we have to take this trade route via the Cape of Good Hope. And there is somewhere around close to 20,000 kilometers. So this is the difference. It has increased the cost of trade, increase the time of trade, and impact on India is that India's trade basket is at risk with when we are already seeing weak external environment, and when we are seeing again crude oil prices become more volatile, and at a time or in a condition when we see currently India is dependent upon 87 of its oil needs are imported. Then chemicals is another sector which has seen the impact because of this, and India is the second biggest component in manufacturing the exports. So in terms of chemicals, the exports have been impacted. And third is the textile and the ready-made garment sector. So India has been one of the top 5 exporters globally, the textile and the ready-made garments. So these are some important facts also. And food subsidy may top rupees 2.2 trillion. So this is an example of revenue expenditure. And here we are seeing what are the factors, what are the reasons. So firstly, when we have a look at this graph, in 2020-21, you can see it was at an all-time high, or the peak was at 5.4 rupees. This was because of COVID-19. After that, we can see average has been somewhere around 3 trillion rupees. So here the reason is one, because we have increased again the extended the time period for the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana. Second is that the increase in the MSP by the government. That is the second reason. And here we are seeing government is focused on two main objectives: food security also, and controlling the food inflation. So that needs to be balanced, and we can say that these are two things between which always there is a certain kind of trade-off which exists: food security and the food inflation. So Supreme Court to hear the landmark online gaming tax case. So here the issue is that the online gaming firms, they believe that the tax demand on the part of the government, that is somewhere around rupees 1.5 trillion, it is on retrospective basis. So retrospective means that since this announcement or the implementation of 28% of GST, before that time period, the tax demands are being, this amount also includes a tax amount before that time period also. So this is under dispute, and here certain names of gaming firms, games 24/7 digital works. So they are challenging these tax demands, this huge amount. And one important point also here, since we're discussing about the mutual funds and this new record which has been hit. So two important difference between the debt funds and the equity funds. So Ashik, can you just cite certain differences between debt fund and equity funds? Like
इक्विटी
we have
फंड,
mutual fund.
हाँ तो म्यूचुअल फंड इट इज इक्विटी फंड.
नहीं
और
नहीं ऐसे नहीं बोल सकते, डिफरेंट है, तीनों डिफरेंट कैटेगरी है. म्यूचुअल फंड थोड़ा ब्रॉड बोल सकते हैं. सबसेट हो गया इक्विटी फंड एंड डेट फंड, बट इक्विटी और डेट में क्या डिफरेंस है?
इक्विटी के लिए आपको कंपनी का पार्टिसिपेशन होना चाहिए स्टेक होल्डिंग में, तब इक्विटी कहलाता है. डेट
नहीं,
डिफरेंट है।
अगर आप डेट, अच्छा ठीक है, डेट इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स क्या होते हैं? एग्जाम्पल्स ऑफ डेट इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स।
टू रेज फंड फ्रॉम द पब्लिक ऑफ ए प्राइवेट सेक्टर, तो बॉन्ड्स हो गए, ट्रेजरी बिल्ड हो गए, तो
गवर्नमेंट बॉन्ड्स एंड सिक्योरिटीज। तो डेट
डिवेंचर हो
फंड्स
गए।
वही है, डेट फंड्स दे विल इन्वेस्ट पीपल्स मनी ओनली इन such types of instruments which are debt instruments, government securities और government bonds में ही आपका पैसा लगाया जाएगा जब आप डेट फंड में अपना पैसा डाल रहे हो। इक्विटी फंड में it would be investing into the equity shares of the company along with certain bonds also. So this is the difference. And then we also talk about assets under management whenever we talk about mutual funds. So what is AUM, assets under management? Ashik?
कर दो मानसी, नहीं पता।
Assets under management, or we can say ki finances under management by a mutual fund, by a company, it reflects the complete market value of the financial assets of that company जिसमें वो पैसा लगा रहे हैं। तो market value of total money in a way it is reflected through assets under management, जो वो fund manage कर रहा है, कितना total पैसा वो manage कर रहा है और invest कर रहा है। So that is the meaning of assets under management. So यही है कि it hits 50 trillion rupees. So ये assets under management ही दिखा रहा है। 100 trillion rupees next growth milestone हमारा ये है कि it would be 100 trillion, मतलब इसका double 50 trillion rupees का is the next target. Okay, so we can move to the Hindi newspaper. Yeah, Divya, let's start.
ये हाँ, ये किसान, महिला, गरीब, युवा सशक्तिकरण के लिए की जो विकसित भारत योजना शुरू की गई थी, उसमें सबसे पहला उद्देश्य यही है कि गरीबों को और महिलाओं को किस तरह से सशक्त बनाया जाए।
ठीक है, आगे नेक्स्ट के लिए।
यहाँ जैव विविधताओं की रक्षक में मददगार, पालतू कुत्ते अब अभिभावकों की भूमिका निभाएंगे। अभिभावक का अर्थ समझे तो अगर जैसे बच्चों की देखभाल करते हैं पेरेंट्स, उसी तरह से जो किसी चीज की देखभाल करते हैं, उसकी रक्षा करते हैं, उसे अभिभावक कहा जा सकता है। तो उसी तरह से यहाँ बताया गया है कि जब हम देखते हैं कि जो कुत्ते हैं वो इंसान के साथ सबसे पहले से जानवर थे, डोमेस्टिक एनिमल है वो। अब उनकी कैटेगरी डिवाइड की गई है कि संरक्षण कुत्ते और खोजी कुत्तों के उसमें, और इसमें भी जो विश्व धरोहर सूची है जिसमें अंटार्कटिका का संरक्षण हो गया, वन्य जीवों का खोज बचाव हो गया। अब हाँ, वो अभिभावक के रूप में काम करेगी, जहाँ पर भूमि का जल खरपतवार उन्मूलन में अग्रणी है, पवन चक्की हो गए, फार्मों की निगरानी हो गए, पर्यावरण मूल्यांकन हो गए, और इन सभी का पता लगाने के लिए कुत्तों की जैव विविधताओं की रक्षा करने में सहायता ली जाएगी। अगर हम इनकी बात करें तो आर्टबल नामक एक मूवी आई थी 2015 में, जिससे इस वर्ड को ज्यादा जानने लगे, जिसमें एक पेंगुइन की लोमड़ी से बचाया था अभी कुत्तों ने। तो इस तरह से अभिभावकों की रक्षा करेंगे, जो और जीव है उनको बचाओ। अर्थव्यवस्था और पारिवारिक वित्तीय नियोजन। जब हम वित्तीय नियोजन की बात करते हैं तो हम देखते हैं कि भारत में हमें वित्तीय नियोजन से ज्यादा रुझान नहीं देखने के लिए मिलता है। जो मिडिल क्लास फैमिलीज है वो करती है, या फिर जो होता भी है तो वो कम सीमा के लिए होता है। तो वित्तीय नियोजन को इस तरह से किया जाना चाहिए, उसके लिए एक अनुपात दिया गया है जिसमें 50, 30 और 20 का नियम तय किया गया है कि 50% मानसिक आय परिवार के लिए खर्च हो जाए, 30% को लंबे समय के लिए बचा के रखना चाहिए, और 20% राशि की को बचत के रूप में रखना चाहिए ताकि आपातकाल में उसको यूज किया जा सके। तो उसको किस तरह से बढ़ाया जाए कि जो पेंशन पॉलिसीज है, जो बीमा पॉलिसी है, उनकी तरफ लोग और आकर्षित हो और उनको अपनाए ताकि वो लॉन्ग टर्म में उनको फायदा कर सके। उसके लिए जैसे अच्छा घर बनाने के लिए म्यूचुअल फंड हो गए, बैंक हो गए, पोस्ट ऑफिस हो गए, या जो आम जो जमा राशि है उनको किस तरह से बढ़ाया जाए। इसके लिए अगर हम भारत सरकार द्वारा देखें तो पीएम जीवन ज्योति बीमा योजना शुरू करी गई है, पीएम सुरक्षा बीमा योजना शुरू करी गई है, ताकि लोग ज्यादा से ज्यादा पॉलिसी के साथ जुड़े और उनको जो वित्तीय सुरक्षा है वो मिल सके, जिससे वो जो जीवन की जरूरतें हैं उनको पूरा कर सके, बीमारी के टाइम पे या किसी दुर्घटना के टाइम पर, या फिर जब इमरजेंसी में जरूरत पड़ती है तो उन चीजों को पूरा किया जा सके। इसके लिए ऑटो डेबिट व्यवस्था का यूज किया जाना चाहिए, जैसे अटल पेंशन स्कीम भारत सरकार द्वारा चलाई गई, उसी तरीके से आयुष्मान भारत योजना चलाई गई है। इवन फसल के लिए भी जैसे पीएम फसल बीमा योजना करवाई जा सकती है। हम देखते हैं कि एल नीनो या लैल नीनो का जब फसलों पर बुरा प्रभाव पड़ता है तो किसानों को उस स्थिति से निकालने के लिए, इसके अलावा जब मनरेगा में देखते हैं, फिर जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट डेवलपमेंट फंड प्रोविजंस है वहां पर भी रखा गया है कि 15 से 20 हजार रुपए के अंदर अगर कर रहे हैं तो उसमें से कुछ परसेंट फंड शेयर्स में इन्वेस्ट किया जाएगा ताकि वो उनको आगे प्रोवाइड करवाया जा सके। तो वित्त नियोजन किस तरह से आगे के लिए भी कुछ पैसों को सुरक्षित किया जाए उसके लिए कहा गया है। मुझे हार स्वीकार है। हर एक को कभी ना कभी हार का सामना करना पड़ता है, लेकिन प्रयत्न ना करना स्वीकार नहीं है। मिशेल जॉर्डन।
ठीक है, तो डायरेक्ट इंटरप्रिटेशन है कि मतलब एफर्ट्स करना ज़्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है। अगर एफर्ट्स नहीं करोगे तो रिग्रेट हमेशा रहेगा रादर देन लूजिंग। तो लूजिंग इन द सेंस की हुई कि लूजिंग के थ्रू भी आप उसको कैसे इंटरप्रेट करें, कैसे उस चीज़ को देख रहे हो कि उससे भी आपको जो लर्निंग्स हो रही है आप उनको आगे यूज़ कर सकते हो। ठीक है,
एंड
मशरूम
आप
में
उसको इंडिपेंडेंस मूवमेंट से ज्वाइन कर सकते हो कि आपने जो डिफीट है उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं किया। जो गांधी जी के नॉन वायलेंट सत्याग्रह मूवमेंट्स थे एंड भगत सिंह के जो कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशंस थे उनके साथ भी हम उसको रिलेट कर सकते हैं।
हाँ।
तो मशरूम में कोविड-19 संक्रमण से लड़ने की क्षमता यहाँ बताया गया कि मशरूम के अंदर बायोएक्टिव तत्व मिलता है जो कोविड महामारी का से क्षमताओं को बढ़ाने में हेल्प करेगा। इसके अलावा जो बायोएक्टिव तत्व होता है इसमें एक विस्तृत श्रृंखला प्रदान की जाती है उत्पादन के थ्रू, जो एंटीवायरल, एंटी इंफ्लेमेटरी और एंटी थ्रोम्बोटिक गुण रखता है। जिसके साथ साथ ये बताया जा सकता है कि इसके अंदर जो व्हाइट ब्लड सेल्स होती हैं उनकी क्षमताओं को इंक्रीज करता है ताकि जो संक्रमण से लड़ने की क्षमता है वो इंक्रीज हो। अविनाश सांबले, ये इन्होंने स्टीपल चेज में भारत को स्वर्ण पदक दिलवाया है एशिया खेलों में। एशिया खेल की शुरुआत 1991 में हुई थी। उसके बाद 2024 में पहली बार इस गेम में भारत को स्वर्ण पदक मिला है। ये पहले भारतीय सेना में 5 महाराजा रेजिमेंट का हिस्सा थे जिन्होंने उसके बाद फिर एशिया खेलों में भागीदारी दी। 2 लाख नए जन औषधि केंद्र खोलेंगे जिनके थ्रू जिन्हें पंचायतों के साथ कनेक्ट किया जाएगा। अभी हमने थोड़ी देर पहले डिस्कस किया था कि पीएसी को कनेक्ट किया जाएगा ताकि जेनरिक मेडिसिन को प्रोवाइड करवाया जा सके और रूरल बेस के थ्रू। उसी तरह से यहाँ पर उन्हें पंचायत के साथ कनेक्ट किया जाएगा और कंप्यूटराइज किया जाएगा ताकि जो जेनरिक मेडिसिन है वो सब तक प्रोवाइड की जा सके कम मूल्य में।
ठीक है, समराइज कर सकते हैं।
फर्स्ट हमने डिस्कस किया था डीसीजीए जो कि पायलट्स हैं, जो उनके रिगार्डिंग हमें देखने के लिए मिलता है उनका टाइम बहुत ज्यादा है। उसके लिए डायरेक्ट ड्यूटी नॉर्म्स तैयार किए कि नाइट शिफ्ट में से वो 2 ही लैंडिंग करेंगे जो कि पहले 6 तक हो जाती थी। इसके अलावा हमने डिस्कस किया था कि सिंगल विंडो जो कि ई गवर्नेंस का एग्जांपल है, जिससे ट्रांसपेरेंसी बढ़ेगी और ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस में हेल्प मिलेगी। सब कुछ एक ही सिंगल विंडो पर अवेलेबल होगा। तमिलनाडु के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हमने डिस्कस किया था। इसके अलावा हमने देखा था कि डैम सेफ्टी एक्ट कि 1924 में आया था। उसके बाद हर 50 साल के बाद जो भी डैम है उसकी फिर से देखा जाना चाहिए, नई टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज किया जाना चाहिए, या फिर जो चीजें